What's going on? Plumper Game here, back with another Epic 7 video, and today we're talking Fallen Land and the new Moonlight Blessing. So the new Moonlight connection or Moonlight Blessing is going to focus on Fallen Land, and we're here to talk about the units that you can summon and which potentially you should select from this Fallen Land Selector edition. So we've had this once in the past, and this is the second go around. Now they hinted at there being potential follow-ups for potentially Runway Fighter and Zero Defect City, right? But we don't know yet, but Fallen Land for sure, okay? For sure. And the cast board for this one is Conquer Lilius, Remnant Violet, Mediator Quirk, Sylvian Sage Vivian, Death Dealer Ray, Commander Pavel, and Astromancer and Elena. And so what we've done today is created just a quick little tier list that's going to hopefully help you narrow down who to get from this Fallen Land connection side story Moonlight Theater. We're also going to be taking a look at the RGB artifact selector ticket, in which artifact you should focus on. So, all right, so here is play-by-play's Moonlight Fallen Land Selector tier list, all right? And so we've broken it down by how they could potentially be used and whether or not they're gonna be worth it if you are brand new to the game or just started maybe within a couple of months and don't have these units, right? So if you do not have Mediator Quirk or Conquer Lilius, those are going to be your priority units if one, you don't have them, and two, you would like a unit that can be used almost everywhere, right? Almost everywhere. They have uses in PvP and PvE, and you can just slap on whatever gear you have and they will be usable. So they are very versatile, not only for PvP, but also for PvE. So Mediator Quirk or Conquer Lilius are going to be my top two must have from this Fallen Land connection. And then the rest are very niche heroes that, honestly, it's a toss-up, really. It's a toss-up of which of those you have. So let's say you have Mediator Quirk and you have Conquer Lilius, but you're missing the rest, right? So who might you be aiming for? So for me, I have every single one of these Moonlight units except Remnant Violet. Remnant Violet, I put him in a niche category. Honestly, every tier below the must-have or new player units, which are Mediator Quirk and Conquer Lilius, are niche units. They are units that you're going to be using maybe once in a while, and again, depending on how you play. So Remnant Violet and Sylvan Sage Vivian are very good units, but they are also very niche. You're not going to be using them all the time, and they're mainly PvP focused. They also have an insane gear requirement, okay? So if you are a new player trying to gear any of these units except for the top two IMO, not including 315 speed Conquer Lilius, okay? Because you can use Conquer Lilius sub 300 if you're not pushing for legend, okay? So Mediator Quirk, Conquer Lilius, honestly, you should be good with those two. But Sylvan Sage Vivian, Remnant Violet, even Commander Pavel, okay? All of these units have very high gear requirements. I think the two that you could potentially just slap on whatever gear and they might do their job is Astromancer Elena and potentially Death Dealer Ray. Death Dealer Ray, he's at the very bottom. He's in an only PvP tier, okay? You can only use him in PvP. His mechanics, his skills, they don't work against PvE bosses. So right out of the gate, if you don't have anyone else and he's your only choice, I mean, might as well, right? And it's going to be the same thing with all of the other niche heroes like Remnant Violet, Sylvan Sage Vivian, Commander Pavel, and Astromancer Elena. I know a lot of people were thinking or are thinking about pulling Astromancer Elena from this Fallen Land connection because she allows you to counter an entire mechanic, which is counters, right? She shuts that down completely. Everybody's saying, oh, well, she's the best GVG unit, right? She's going to shut everything down. And I've almost never used her in GVG because you always want to, if you can't cleave it, which you probably don't want to cleave anyway, you're going to be playing extremely safe in GVG, okay? In guild battles, when you're fighting another team, you're going to want to get those mystics, okay? If you're free to play and you care about min-maxing, trying to get as many rewards as possible, you're going to go super safe, okay? The problem with Astromancer Elena is that, yeah, she shuts down the counter mechanic, but she has a buff. And when that buff wears off, she doesn't cancel that counter mechanic. So if she dies, the counters come back, okay? It's not like Bellion where they, as long as she's alive for the entire duration of the match, they don't have any souls. Astromancer Elena does not work that way. But if you do have that cleave playstyle, she is a pretty decent pickup. If you don't have Astromancer Elena or even Commander Pavel, he's going to fit into that niche playstyle, but cleave, right? If you're thinking cleave, these are the two that I would put in that category. Very, very high gear requirements though for Remnant Violet and Sylvan Sage Vivian. Again, DDR, you could potentially put kind of whatever on him, but he's only PvP focused. So those are my picks for each of these. Hopefully you're able to either pick up a unit that you don't have, or, you know, if you're not too stressed about PvP, you know, go for waifu, right? Go for waifu, go for husbando, whoever you want, okay? So moving on, let's take a look at the artifact RGB selector. And this one is kind of tough, okay? This one is very difficult because there are a lot of good RGB 5-star artifacts, okay? And by RGB, I'm placing that category into like Soul Weavers, Bruisers, right? Supports, controls, any unit that's in the game that's not limited, okay? Because these selectors don't allow you to pull limited artifacts or limited units from the selector. So if possible, these are the artifacts or the 5-star artifacts that I'm recommending. You can never go wrong if you haven't pulled a Sigurd Scythe since playing the game, okay? Bruiser units. When you start the game, you're probably not going to be running 300 speed units, okay? You're going to be building bruiser units because they're safe, they're consistent, right? And they're going to help you survive and deal damage at the same time. Sigurd Scythe, Golden Rose, even Elbrus Ritual Sword, all three of these artifacts are really, really good, okay? If you don't have at least one copy of Sigurd, 100% recommend picking that up. Golden Rose is the new, I guess you could say, quote unquote, Sigurd Scythe, but it's just dropped, okay? It just dropped. It's still one of those artifacts that could be best in slot for some units. The only downside to Sigurd Scythe and Golden Rose is that they are 100% better, fully limit broken. They can still be used at one artifact without any limit breaks at just plus 15, but you honestly want more and more copies because almost every bruiser is going to use Sigurd Scythe or Golden Rose. Now, Elbrus Ritual Sword, this is another artifact that I think is 100% must have if you don't have at least one copy, because units that have counters, Navy Captain Landy, right? Candy right now, Elbrus Ritual Sword is her #1 as of right now, best in slot artifact, right? Because she counters. And what Elbrus Ritual Sword allows you to do is counter when a knight has this artifact. So her counter procs, right? She S1s into her S2, right? Dealing even more damage. And so when another unit on her team is attacked, she has the ability to counter. Now, these three, again, the more limit broken that they are, the better that they are. The rest down below that, support, DPS, and control. Support, you know, Honestly, these, if you have every other artifact and you need Soul Weaver artifacts, you can never go wrong with a Shamander Staff or a Celestine. Holy Sack here has made a resurgence, okay? But the only thing about Holy Sack is this artifact requires multiple copies in order to have a 100% chance to activate. And so what happens is after your unit dies or goes down, they get revived at a certain percentage of health with a barrier, okay? It starts off at 75% chance to revive, and when you fully limit break this or max it out, whatever you want to call it, it pushes it up to 100% chance. So there is a probability of it just not happening, but it's still, you can still run it at plus 15. For DPS units, if you don't have a Wind Rider 100% must pick up. After that, it's going to be Secret Art Storm Sword and RNL. RNL is one of those, as well as Secret Art Storm Sword. I don't know, I think you can get away with it just running at plus 15. Secret Art Storm Sword plus 15, 100% fine. It does what it needs to do at just plus 15. There is a slight chance that you don't get the attack buff, but you still get the CR push. RNL, this one grants you an extra turn, okay? But it's a very, very low chance. This one as well, you really want max limit broken. So that's why I kind of put them in that order. The last one here, Abyssal Crown. This one works just fine at plus 15. So if you don't have an Abyssal Crown, then I would highly recommend picking one up if you have all of the other ones. I'm probably going to go for an imprint, something that I don't have since I have all of these artifacts. But that's going to be it for me. Let me know your thoughts about the new Fallen Land. Who are you going to be picking up? Who are you most looking forward to get from that connection? What about the artifact selector? Like always, if you haven't enjoyed the video, hit that like button. If you haven't subscribed, hey, think about subscribing. It really helps the channel grow and reach more people like you who like content like this. Like always, thanks for watching. I'll see you next time. Peace.